Hello, my friends. I have been having a blast putting all kinds of holiday gift guides together, and today we are talking about hardware for the game-playing fans in your life. This was a year where I think new video game hardware wasn't vitally necessary, but it was still damn impressive. So if you're looking for gaming hardware for the holidays in 2023, I think it's still the big three consoles that you should be looking for. The Nintendo Switch, with its dual functionality of being great in portable mode or plugged into the TV, along with Nintendo's truly stellar lineup of key franchise games and a great subscription service that gives players access to decades of Nintendo fun. There's also the Xbox Series S or X, which deliver killer technology, some sweet exclusives, and a bunch of massive game development studios that are working on tons of new games, plus the best-in-class subscription service with Game Pass, or the PlayStation 5, which also delivers excellent tech, the best controller I've ever used in the DualSense, and a library of truly wonderful exclusives, plus a very solid subscription service with hundreds of games as well. Now, you can't go wrong with either of those, or all of them, if you're feeling especially generous. But I'll tell you a secret, probably the most economical way to play fantastic games is on PC, and that's what I'm going to start with, specifically the Steam Deck OLED model, which just launched and is absolutely phenomenal. And it's not a huge advancement in terms of processing power from the launch LCD Steam Deck. It's still the same processor in there, but what this new OLED model does is deliver a larger battery and that screen, which not only gives you blacker blacks and better colors and better lighting, so HDR becomes a factor. It also runs at 90 hertz, so you can play some games with a faster frame rate, which is really cool, or a better frame rate, which is really cool. And it's going to last a little bit longer in terms of battery life, so it's smarter there. The fans don't kick in as much. It's just an all-around better improvement. Still, the original launch Steam Deck, and you can get those models at much discounted prices now, is still an excellent pickup and would be a great gift idea, but the Steam Deck OLED feels premium. I can't recommend it enough, especially to those that you might be buying for that don't already have a Steam Deck. They will be blown away by the Steam Deck OLED. Even though there's a lot more competition out there in the handheld PC space, I'm a huge fan of what Valve has been doing with the Steam Deck, and the OLED is amazing. I also want to give a quick hardware MVP shout out to the folks over at JSOX. When the original Steam Deck launched, they were one of the first people to send me out a Steam Deck dock, which I've been using for months and months, streamed tons of stuff using that dock. So I've got docks in a couple different places. They've sent me other docks. They have this cool RGB model with lots of different inputs into it, which is pretty cool, very flashy, of course. But the one that I like the most is the 6-in-1 red model that they sent me out. And I also bought Valve's own Steam Deck dock off of the Steam store. And I have to say, I prefer the JSOX docks. And so the red has become my default primary one, but I've used the other ones when I've been traveling or when I hook up to stream live from this position right here. So if you're looking for a dock for a Steam Deck or Steam Deck OLED, definitely look at what JSOX has to offer. Now, VR's had a pretty fantastic year in 2023, and I think at the top of the list, hardware-wise, is Meta's Quest 3. Now, the Quest 3 is quite a bit pricier than the Meta Quest 2, which you can still buy, and it's obviously going to be much discounted now because we're into a newer model. But what you get when you spend a little bit more money for the Quest 3 is better imaging and visuals, so things look a lot cleaner, especially text. And there are games that take full advantage of the new processor in the Quest 3 and the new lenses in the Quest 3, so things look great in the device. The fit is also very comfortable right out of the box, at least for me. Every head is going to be different, but I had to replace the facial integration system on the Quest 2, and I bought a new one. But I feel the fabrics and the materials that they've been using for the strap and the facial connection on the Quest 3 is pretty solid. I've been able to spend hours and hours in the games and haven't had any issues with it on my head. It doesn't feel too heavy. It feels quite comfortable, as a matter of fact. There's more storage also in the base model of the Quest 3 than you got out of the base model on the Quest 2, so you can download more games. There's faster Wi-Fi, so stuff downloads to it a lot quicker. Obviously, Meta's been just iterating and iterating on the interface in the Quest, so it's I just feel like the whole onboarding to jump into this experience has become very easy and very seamless. And the best thing of all with all of the Quest devices is that they're completely tetherless. They're not wired to anything, and that includes being able to wirelessly tether to your PC and play PC software through the Quest 3, like Half-Life Alyx and other classics like Star Wars Squadrons, which is really incredible. Now, the battery doesn't last that long on the Quest 3, which I think is the biggest downside, but I have to be honest, after about the 90 minutes or so that you get off of a full charge, that's about when I'm ready to kind of take it off and have a bit of a break. And it charges up fairly quickly, so if you want to jump right back in, take a break, go watch a show or something like that and get back in. That's kind of been my play pattern with it, and I haven't really had a major problem with its battery life. But of course, you can get extra battery packs and stuff like that, but that adds to the price, so you have to keep that into consideration. But the other amazing upgrade for the Quest 3 is its much more profound color pass-through. So that means that you feel a lot less isolated from the world around you. You can actually read your phone, you can see where everything is, you can play games in a mixed reality as well because of this pass-through, and that's a pretty funky addition in here. But of course, I think the primary focus of the Quest 3 still right now, at least for game players like myself and probably the person you might be looking at something for, is to play VR experiences. And of course, you can play the classics, Beat Saber and Pistol Whip. Runner is an excellent one, Iron Man VR and Resident Evil 4, all of them just work beautifully on the Quest 3, but I've been checking out some newer games like Ubisoft's Assassin's Creed Nexus, where you actually have to go and assassinate different people and jump off of the roof by stretching out your arms and taking that leap of faith into a pile of hay. It's pretty surreal from first person like that. I've also been playing Ghostbusters Rise of the Ghost Lord, which you can play with other people and you have your proton pack and you're chasing and catching different cartoon ghosts and stuff. It's definitely more kid-oriented and family-oriented, but it's still pretty fun. I've also been playing Red Matter 2, this beautiful and enhanced version of this adventure title on the Quest 3. It looks incredible. Also checked out Samba de Amigo, the virtual party game, which is a lot like Beat Saber, but now you're shaking maracas to the beat of the music. But it also has this old school wacky Sega charm in the game as well. I had a lot of fun with Eye of the Temple, which is kind of like an Indiana Jones simulator where you're walking in room scale. You're actually physically walking in the space, so you have to make the room for it, but you're walking and standing on platforms and moving with them, and you're using a whip. It's pretty freaking cool. It definitely feels immersive, like you're in that game world. And there's another game I've been playing recently, and even though it reminds me of early VR experiences, it's still very fun to play. It's called Battle Bows, and you're basically shooting at these bubble enemies with your bow and arrow, and it's just fun to pop them. It's very accessible. It's like a tower defense game where all these bubble enemies are coming at you and you're using your bow and arrow. It's just really cool to be able to just pick up the Quest 3, put it on your head, and boom, you're in another world like that. Very, very slick VR hardware if you're looking for that this holiday season. The other VR hardware that you might be looking for, especially for the PlayStation 5 players out there, is PSVR 2. This launched earlier this year with much fanfare, and the launch title Horizon Call of the Mountain, which has now become a pack-in game in some of the bundles out there. And it's a beautiful climbing and fighting experience in the Horizon universe. And this might be, I think, the first thing that you look at when you're thinking of picking this up for a PS5 player. Or maybe you're going to buy a PS5 and PSVR 2 for someone extraordinarily lucky out there. But that is a pretty amazing escape. Still, the killer app on PSVR 2 is Gran Turismo 7, which you can play in non-VR form, of course, but it's another level when you play it in VR. And if you have the means and the space to have a wheel attached and play this thing with a wheel, I haven't done that yet, but I know it's supreme at just this other level of immersion. It's the most beautiful racing game in VR that's been built so far as I know, but feel free to correct me in the comments below. And I'm a huge fan of the Moss games. There have been 2 of them so far where you're playing this little warrior mouse that gets into all kinds of trouble. They run beautifully on PlayStation VR 2. I also love the classics like Tetris Effect, Rez, Beat Saber, Pistol Whip. Resident Evil Village came with an update to be able to play the whole thing in VR, and that's incredible. And Resident Evil 4's remake will also have a VR mode available soon for PSVR 2, and that should be terrifying and tons of fun. The only quibble that I have about the PSVR 2 is that it sure would be great to have classics out there like Half-Life Alyx ported to PSVR 2, Iron Man should be ported to the platform, and Star Wars Squadrons. It'd be great to have those big brands, those big names in VR playable on PSVR 2 on PS5. Hopefully we hear some of that news in 2024. Now I'm going to stick with the PlayStation 5 and more hardware for that platform. The DualSense Edge is a terrific controller. It is absolutely wonderful. It lifts on all of the incredible work that Sony put into the traditional DualSense, which is the pack-in for the PlayStation 5. But the DualSense Edge gives players a lot more flexibility and a lot more precision with what they can do with this controller. You can customize it and adjust it exactly the way that you want to. You can also replace the joystick components if they get overused or something like that. It also comes with its own carrying case and all kinds of attachments. It's not inexpensive, but if you've got somebody that's a hardcore competitive player that you're buying for and they're a PS5 player, you got to take a look at the DualSense Edge. And one more PS5-centric piece of hardware that I wasn't sure I was going to add to this list. It just came in a couple of days ago, so I've had a couple of days to assess it, and I have to say that I am a big fan of it. It is the PlayStation Portal, and this is not a portable game system. This is a controller, essentially a DualSense that has been separated, and a beautiful big screen has been put into the middle of it, and it's meant to be able to play your PS5 games in your home or on an internet connection. It streams from your home PlayStation 5 console, so you can't connect it to any cloud services and play things that way. It's just to play what's internally installed on your PlayStation 5 over the network. So it's wireless in the house somewhere, or if you're on a wireless connection and you can connect to your PS5 at home, you can play it that way. I've been able to play PS5 games all over my home. I have been playing lots of PS5 games and reviewing them for you in my game cave here, and it's just been nice for me to take them and be a little bit more portable with it. And at first I was pretty apprehensive about this because I do want PlayStation to make a portable. I would love a PSP 2 or a Vita 2 where you could take this content and go anywhere with it, but it really hit me that this is more of a controller. It's the same price as the DualSense Edge, effectively, and it gives you the freedom to kind of carry your PS5 experience anywhere that you want to, as long as you're connected to the internet. Now, mileage is going to vary. If you don't have fast enough internet, it's going to chop up, and there are hiccups. I live stream some of the use of the PlayStation Portal to our followers on twitch.tv/EPN, and we all got a good firsthand look at its performance. But I have to say, I have been super impressed. It's been fun to walk around and get caught up again on Immortals of Avium, and I've been playing some NHL hockey and FC 24, some Spider-Man 2. It's just been a blast to be able to dive into these big, deep, complex PlayStation 5 games, and it feels like I'm playing on a PlayStation 5. That's the thing. The controller is the secret sauce. It feels like a DualSense. It's not like the Backbone, which is still really good, which connects to your iPhone or Android phone, and you can stream to that. And I have been a big fan of the Backbone, and there's other devices out there where you can stream to your phone and play it that way, like the Razer Kishi and stuff. It's not like that, though. This is the full-size DualSense experience with a beautiful screen in the middle, and it just is a wonderful escape. In my use case, it has been great. I don't know if that will be the case for someone you might be purchasing this for, but I have been very impressed. I really like the PlayStation Portal. Now, over on the Nintendo side, it has been relatively quiet for new hardware for the Nintendo Switch, where I think we're all waiting for the announcement of the Nintendo Switch 2, or whatever Nintendo's going to call it. And I didn't dive into the new Zelda or Mario-themed OLED models that have come out this year. I still like the kind of Metroid Dread / Stormtrooper vibe of the launch Nintendo Switch OLED model. I love that machine. It's terrific. But what I did pick up for my Switch OLED is the Tears of the Kingdom branded Hori Split Pad Pros, which give you much more comfort when you're playing action games and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom in portable mode. It turns the device almost into a Steam Deck kind of vibe, or something approximating the comfort and the vibe of the PlayStation Portal. It certainly adds to the dimensions of the Switch, so I had to get a different carrying case to fit the Hori Split Pad Pros, but I love the art on these, obviously evoking the incredible Tears of the Kingdom, and games are just really, really comfortable to play now in portable mode because the Split Pad Pros are on there. And over on the Xbox Series front, there are tons of different controllers available for the Xbox platforms. And the Xbox controller is no slouch. It is a great controller. I use a Razer Boba Fett branded one, but I looked around. It's a couple years old, and I love it. But it's almost impossible to find out there. It's sold out everywhere, so I'm not including that in my hardware. What I'm going to suggest, if you're looking for somebody that has an Xbox, is pick them up an Xbox Design Lab gift certificate so that they can design their very own Xbox Series controller. I designed one not too long ago that looks like the colors of the classic Batman costume. So a lighter gray, a sort of darker blue on the back, and a little yellow accent for the D-pad. And I love the look of that, even though I don't use that one as much now. I use my Boba Fett controller. But I really dig it, and you can give people a lot of agency to build whatever colors and whatever scheme they want with the Xbox Design Lab. I wish Nintendo and Sony would do something similar, as a matter of fact. I think that Design Lab is such an excellent idea. I also think that the Xbox Series X wraps are very, very cool. I love the look of the Starfield wrap. I didn't jump on it, though. I'm kind of waiting to see what Xbox might be doing for future wraps out there, but the Starfield one is beautiful. That, I don't think, is sold out. So if you've got somebody that has a Series X and they love Starfield, but they didn't get the wrap, that might be an excellent gift idea. And let's hope in 2024 Xbox announces a whole bunch of new wrap concepts. I'd love a Batman wrap on my Series X. Just saying, Microsoft. All right, that's going to do it for some hardware suggestions for this holiday gift guide. Make sure you check out the other gift guides that I've been doing for Nintendo and Sony and Xbox and PC games. I'm working on something else as well, so I'll come back very soon with some brand new ideas for you. Thank you for hitting that thumbs up button and that subscribe button. Thanks for your support of VPN. We'll see you soon, and until then, play forever.